I want to quickly talk about the situation with Stephen A. Smith. I basically offered him a chance to settle this right here, right now, for all to see. Just us one-on-one, right in the center of the court. Naturally, that court isn't your domain. You lack the air I possess. I'm the one. In that clip, LeBron directly confronted Stephen A. Smith regarding their persistent feud. Yet, that was not the end of it. He also unveiled the reasons behind the widespread discord NBA players have with him. LeBron isn't the sole player to have had a run-in with Stephen. From KD to Russ to Kyrie, mention any star, and there's likely some tension. As soon as you catch wind of what LeBron disclosed, it'll make clear why Stephen A. is considered one of the most despised personalities in the realm of sports media. Let's dive in. The reason NBA players disdain him. Stephen A. Smith didn't rise to become a contentious figure in sports journalism by mere chance. For more than 20 years, the ESPN analyst has formed a reputation that often puts him in conflict with the athletes whose performances fuel his career. But what is it that provokes NBA players' disdain for him? The root of this animosity stems from a harmful mix of personal jabs, dubious journalism, and a style of commentary that players perceive as crossing the boundary from objective critique to character defamation. Central to NBA players' animosity towards Stephen A. Smith is his habit of making remarks that extend past basketball evaluations into intensely personal realms. In contrast to other analysts who emphasize tactics and execution, Smith has often stated things that players interpret as assaults on their integrity, families, and private matters. Back in 2016, Smith made an inappropriate remark about Lamar Odom's struggles with substance abuse during a segment on First Take. It slips out from my lips. I can't help myself because I can hardly manage at this moment. His initial action as an executive was to bring Lamar Odom on board. Who is using? The first action taken by the head of the New York Knicks was to sign Lamar Odom. Who is using? Who is using? Odom's attorney dispatched a letter to ESPN, leading Smith to offer an apology, yet the harm to their relationship had already occurred. This event illustrated how Smith's edgy approach occasionally crossed into damaging realms. The Odom affair was not a singular occurrence. In the 2018 NBA Finals, Smith humorously advised to refrain from weed, making light of J.R. Smith's mistake. Stay off the weed. While the crowd may have cheered, the players probably perceived it as disrespectful. What Smith considered amusing television, athletes regarded as inappropriate remarks that trivialized grave matters. Compiling an extensive catalog of NBA stars who have clashed publicly with Stephen A. Smith would require several pages. The multitude of disputes indicates a trend that transcends mere chance. It reflects a core attitude that repeatedly distances him from the players he analyzes. Kevin Durant, known for his forthrightness, offered perhaps the most blunt assessment. Evaluation of Smith's trustworthiness. In November 2024, Durant labeled Smith a joke during a conversation with the Athletic NBA, asserting, "I've only seen him on television discussing players. To me, he's always been a joke." The brilliance of Durant's retort is found in its stark candor. It wasn't a tactful rebuke. Smith's credibility took a significant hit from one of the most respected scorers in NBA history, and Durant's issues with Smith date back several years. In 2015, Smith speculated about Durant potentially teaming up with Carmelo Anthony and Kobe Bryant on the Knicks, which Durant denied, openly calling Smith a dishonest individual on social media. The situation involving Kyrie Irving brought to light more concerning elements of Smith's demeanor. In March 2023, Smith confessed to harboring a personal grudge against Irving, admitting it was evident from his remarks. While this honesty was commendable, it sparked serious concerns about the appropriateness of letting personal feelings shape professional sports analysis. The Irving saga emerged amid the 2018 trade turmoil involving Kyrie and LeBron. When Smith disclosed that LeBron's inner circle allegedly played a role in prompting Irving's trade desire from the Cavaliers, it hinted that LeBron might have been eager to surpass Irving. LeBron refuted these claims on social media, labeling them as not facts. However, Smith's readiness to publish unverified personal anecdotes established a trend that would endure. The clash between John Wall and Smith showcased another aspect of Smith's contentious style. In 2019, Wall confronted Smith to a one-on-one game after Smith deemed his performance lackluster, branding him as soft. Smith said no, emphasizing that he was a journalist, not an athlete. The sight of John Wall, among the quickest point guards ever, trying to resolve a media clash on the court highlighted the profound impact of Smith's remarks. When a pro athlete is ready to jeopardize their career to confront a commentator in a competitive setting, it indicates a frustration that surpasses standard media interactions. Not even international players escaped Smith's provocative commentary approach. Back in 2014, Smith criticized Bogut for lacking heart and mockingly referred to him as Andrew Bogus on First Take. Bogut fired back on a podcast, labeling Smith a with girl, which highlighted that Smith's quest for drama crossed all borders. A particularly damning charge against Smith emerged from Stephen Marbury, who, in February 2024, claimed on social media that Smith selectively slandered black athletes and asked when a call to silence him would come. This assertion cut to the core of significant concerns in sports media, provoking tough discussions about bias and targeting in commentary. In addition to personal remarks, NBA players frequently condemned Smith's reporting style and questioned the credibility of his statements. The case of Kevin Durant illustrates this issue clearly. Smith disclosed possible team changes which Durant categorically refuted, sparking debates over the veracity of the claims. Smith has steadfastly justified his position as a journalist offering essential commentary, claiming it's his responsibility to report on the behaviors of public figures. Nevertheless, athletes discern a distinct contrast between genuine journalism and what they view as exaggerated coverage aimed more at entertainment than precision. Michael Carter-Williams served as another instance highlighting this conflict. In 2014, Carter-Williams claimed that Smith implied the Sixers were deliberately losing matches, which Williams refuted, describing Smith as merely adopting a persona. In retaliation, Smith issued a warning via social media, advising Williams not to test him, with a tone that revealed his belief in a hierarchical relationship with NBA players. Numerous players and fans perceive Smith as someone who often errs without retracting or recognizing his faults. Conversations on Reddit highlight his regular misjudgments, followed by a haughty demeanor towards those genuinely informed about basketball. This perceived haughtiness is intensified by Smith's vast influence at ESPN, boasting nearly 4 million followers and 25 years of covering the NBA. His perspective resonates with the subjects he discusses, evident in people's responses to him. Yet athletes often believe this influence is misused. The ongoing tensions have led to a scenario where some of the league's top stars choose to shun or openly deride one of sports journalism's leading figures. After Smith's contentious remarks, multiple NBA players, including Draymond Green, are said to have ceased communication with him. Even as established athletes, who had previously been on good terms with the media, severed connections. Smith's situation underscores the NBA community's perception of his insights. However, all these conflicts, controversies, and fractured relationships have merely set the stage for the most intense clash of Smith's career. When Stephen A. Smith aimed his sharp criticism at the James family, particularly at LeBron's son, Bronny, he inadvertently stepped over a threshold that would provoke the NBA's most dominant force. What unfolded thereafter would render all prior conflicts mere trivial squabbles. It marked the moment the King declared war. March 6, 2025, Madison Square Garden. The Los Angeles Lakers were engaged in a fierce contest against the New York Knicks, yet the true spectacle ignited during a timeout, creating ripples felt throughout the basketball world. LeBron James, a four-time NBA champion and the highest scorer in league history, shocked everyone present and the millions at home with his bold move. He approached ESPN's Stephen A. Smith, seated courtside, and unleashed a statement that would spark one of the most intense rivalries in sports media. Various reports indicate that LeBron confronted Smith, allegedly stating, "Hey, you need to quit talking trash about my son. You need to stop messing with my son. That's my son. That's my son." This was far from just a typical clash between an athlete and a media figure. This matter struck deep. It was a father defending his loved ones. It was LeBron James, establishing a boundary that Stephen A. Smith had clearly breached repeatedly. To grasp the significance of this confrontation, we must turn back the clock and delve into the rising turmoil that precipitated this dramatic clash. The friction between these two had been intensifying like the heat in a decisive match, with every remark and critique serving to ignite an already fierce blaze. The spark for this pivotal moment came from Bronny James, LeBron's eldest offspring, who was selected 55th overall by the Lakers in June 2024. What should have been a proud celebration of a father-son legacy quickly turned into a focal point of contention, with Stephen A. Smith spearheading the criticisms. By late January 2025, Smith questioned Bronny James' place on an NBA roster, implying he was more suited for the G League than the pros. For Smith, this was simply part of his routine, offering bold opinions and incendiary commentary that had established him as a prominent figure in sports journalism. For LeBron, this was the tipping point. The King had weathered years of critique regarding his play, decisions, and the legacy he was crafting. He had faced backlash over his choices, had doubts cast on his ability to perform under pressure, and was perpetually placed alongside Michael Jordan in ceaseless discussions. Yet, when that scrutiny turned to his son, it marked a pivotal shift in how LeBron engaged with the sports media. "I will always defend the players in the game. Discussions and criticisms are part of the sport. It's your role to critique or be in the spot where, if a player is underperforming, that's just how it works. It's all part of the sport. When it gets personal, my responsibility is to safeguard not just my family, but also the players." This remark made on the Pat McAfee show weeks following the incident succinctly reflects LeBron's perspective. He wasn't seeking any preferential treatment or freedom from scrutiny. He grasped the intricate dynamics of the sports media landscape, recognizing that narratives, controversies, and debates were essential for their existence. However, what he could not bear was what he saw as personal assaults directed at his family, especially his son, who was just embarking on his professional basketball career. The irony was evident to fans and commentators alike. Here was LeBron James, a figure who had constructed a vast empire through savvy media interactions and meticulously curated public perception, now clashing with one of the most influential personalities in sports media. It resembled a seasoned chess master foreseeing the game, but opting to rush directly at the king, revealing LeBron's mounting exasperation with Stephen A. Smith's journey was not a sudden emergence. LeBron highlighted a staggering 22 years of pent-up frustration regarding Smith, pointing out a pattern of unnecessary remarks over those years. This duration surpasses the typical careers of many NBA athletes, outlasting the longevity of numerous marriages. It represents an entire generation of simmering discontent that has finally reached its breaking point. The complexity of this rivalry is astonishing upon closer examination. LeBron burst onto the NBA scene in 2003, straight from high school, burdened by the label of the chosen one. Meanwhile, Stephen A. Smith had already carved out a successful career in sports journalism, transitioning from print to becoming a television icon. For over 20 years, these two figures have engaged in a nuanced exchange of critique and rebuttal, acclaim and criticism. Smith's method of analyzing LeBron has consistently been a balanced act. On one side, he frequently highlights LeBron's brilliance, frequently deeming him among the top players in NBA lore. Smith has often declared LeBron the second-best player ever, trailing only Michael Jordan. Conversely, Smith isn't shy about pointing out what he sees as LeBron's flaws, both in his gameplay and beyond. This scenario put LeBron in an exceptionally annoying predicament. Being judged by someone who undervalues your talent is one thing, but facing ongoing criticism from a person who professes admiration yet critiques all your efforts is quite another. It's akin to having a companion who claims to cherish you while persistently highlighting your imperfections. However, the situation with Bronny signified something more profound. This was not merely a critique of LeBron's Game 7 performance or a jab at his choice to join a super team. It was a reflection on his son, a young athlete striving to carve his own niche in professional basketball, all while bearing the heavy legacy of being LeBron James Jr. Smith's remarks about Bronny included doubts about his readiness for the NBA and suggestions that he should be in the G League. While such criticism is common for any young player battling to establish themselves in the elite basketball arena, these comments felt amplified due to his father's identity. Allegations of nepotism were bound to arise. Detractors claimed Bronny was drafted solely because of his surname, that he was occupying a roster spot that could have gone to more deserving talent, and that the Lakers' decision to keep him was merely an effort to please LeBron. The criticisms had some merit. Nepotism in sports is indeed a genuine concern that warrants examination, but LeBron perceived the critique as overstepping into personal attacks. He believed that Smith was making it personal, moving away from basketball analysis. As a father who had endured relentless media attention throughout his career, witnessing that same scrutiny aimed at his son was evidently a heavy burden for him to accept without reaction. The clash at Madison Square Garden wasn't an impulsive outburst. It was the unavoidable culmination of years of mounting tension finally bursting forth. LeBron had hit his limit, and Stephen A. Smith was on the verge of feeling the full force of the King's wrath. The context heightened the drama. Madison Square Garden has hosted innumerable iconic scenes in NBA lore, yet this was not a last-second bucket or standout display. This was unrestrained, genuine feeling erupting before a nationwide viewership, but LeBron still had more to unleash. Several weeks down the line, he would disclose the specifics of his conversation with Stephen A. Smith during that intense exchange, and his account would reverberate throughout the basketball world. Now, let's quickly tackle the Stephen A. Smith incident. I essentially challenged him to settle it right then and there in front of a crowd. Just me and him, one-on-one, right on the court, as if that would even matter. You lack what it takes. All I need to do is be myself. I'm that person. The King's announcement was remarkable in its audacity. A 40-year-old, 6 feet 9 inches basketball icon was daring a 57-year-old analyst to resolve their issues on the court. Yet, LeBron had more to express to Smith and the audience regarding that fateful evening. The genuine passion in LeBron's tone, while recounting the clash, illustrated a man who had reached his utmost threshold. This wasn't the polished, media-savvy LeBron James that fans were used to seeing dominate press events. This was a father passionately standing up for his family with the same fervor he displays when clinching Game 7s, which sheds light on why LeBron hit his limit with Stephen A. Smith. We must recognize the gravity of what was at stake. It wasn't merely his son's basketball skills that were under scrutiny, but the foundation of a legacy in the making and the reputation of one of the NBA's all-time greats. The King and the Prince, basketball royalty facing scrutiny. LeBron James embarking on his 22nd NBA season at 40 years old is nothing short of extraordinary. In the 2024-25 campaign, he recorded an average of 24.4 points, 8.2 assists, and 7.8 rebounds across 70 games, boasting a shooting percentage of 54% from the field and 41% from beyond the arc. Such figures do not belong to a player languishing on the bench in their later years. These statistics reflect the performance of an athlete still excelling at a peak level, while most of his contemporaries are well into retirement. LeBron's remarkable endurance in the realm of sports challenges traditional beliefs surrounding the aging process in athletics. As of 2025, he stands as the NBA's leading scorer with a staggering 38,390 points, eclipsing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record in February 2023. However, his legacy is not solely built on scoring prowess. It encompasses unparalleled mastery in all dimensions of basketball. With 4 NBA championships to his name, for MVP accolades, and 4 Finals MVP honors, he has also earned a spot in 20 All-Star games. These honors illustrate a competitor who has maintained unparalleled greatness over numerous decades, evolving his style to stay a step ahead of rivals who emerged into the league long after he began his journey. His career metrics reveal a remarkable adaptability, averaging 27.2 points, 7.3 rebounds, and 7.3 assists over the span of 22 seasons. Discovering another athlete in NBA history who has had such a significant impact across a wide range of stats for this length of time is nearly unimaginable. LeBron transcended the game. He transformed the definition of an all-around player. His reach goes well beyond mere numbers. He transformed the small forward position by adopting a point forward style, establishing new benchmarks for adaptability. The modern trend of positionless basketball in the NBA can be traced back to LeBron's exceptional capacity to play and defend various roles while functioning as his team's main playmaker and strategist. However, LeBron's influence is not limited to the hardwood. In 2025, he became the first active NBA player to achieve billionaire status, boasting a net worth of $1.2 billion, showcasing that his business savvy is on par with his basketball brilliance. Through the LeBron James Family Foundation, he has created schools, residential communities, and health facilities in Akron, Ohio, reflecting a dedication to making a positive difference that reaches far beyond sports accolades. This is the individual whose assessment, Stephen A. Smith, was scrutinizing when he challenged the choice to select and nurture Bronny James. Smith's critique wasn't limited to a mere basketball strategy. He was calling into question the judgment of a figure with more than 20 years of wise decision-making, both in the game and in life. Now, meet Bronny James, a young man bearing what might be the most substantial legacy in sports, as the son of one of the all-time basketball legends. Selected 55th overall by the Lakers in 2024, Bronny encountered a relentless spotlight throughout his chase for the NBA, where each achievement was amplified and every setback exaggerated. The doubts regarding his readiness for the league were not entirely unfounded from a basketball perspective. As with many second-round selections, concerns about his immediate impact at the professional level were prevalent. Yet, the ferocity and personal nature of the criticism felt excessive compared to the usual assessment of other late second-round picks. While Smith harshly judged Bronny's initial challenges, fellow high draft picks like Reed Sheppard and Tidjane Salaün endured similar G League experiences without facing the same level of scrutiny. LeBron's focused attention underscored what he viewed as unjust scrutiny directed at his family, contrasting it with typical basketball commentary. The unique father-son relationship competing in professional basketball symbolized a groundbreaking moment in NBA history. No father and son had ever played side by side in this elite league before, rendering each second of their shared experiences profoundly meaningful. Many felt that for detractors to dwell on the shortcomings of this exceptional milestone, rather than appreciating its extraordinary essence, overlooked the larger narrative. Throughout this turmoil, LeBron's instinct to defend his family was vividly evident. During the Pat McAfee show, he remarked, "When you take it to a personal level, it's my duty to safeguard not just my family, but also the players." This was not merely about defending his son. It emphasized the belief that families deserve to be shielded from scrutiny in professional sports discussions. Observers of basketball noted the irony in the scenario. Here stood LeBron James, a player renowned for his strategic choices, facing criticism for a decision that would enable him to team up with his son in the sport. The Lakers' choice to select Bronny may not have been solely about basketball talent, yet forged a landmark moment that went beyond conventional draft evaluations. Stephen A. Smith's reaction to LeBron's remarks highlighted the essence of their core conflict. "I made no further comments. If that's the crux of the matter, where I bring up LeBron James, it's about how you've bypassed a merit-based system to achieve your desires, undermining the league's integrity in many people's view. That's commentary on you, not your son." Smith's defense underscored his view that his critique was aimed at LeBron's choices as both a father and a prominent athlete, rather than a personal assault on Bronny. Nonetheless, this distinction appeared trivial to LeBron, who interpreted any critique regarding his family as deeply personal. The fallout from this dispute went beyond mere disagreements over basketball insights. It symbolized a conflict between traditional sports journalism and the current trend of player empowerment. Throughout his career, LeBron has meticulously shaped his public persona and narrative, whereas Smith embodied a media landscape where commentators felt justified in scrutinizing every facet of an athlete's public existence. Is it due to my disbelief in your status as the greatest? My unyielding stance on you not being the GOAT? My constant placement of you at number 2? Smith's acknowledgement that his critiques may stem from his inability to recognize LeBron as the ultimate player injected further complexity into their dispute. Smith has perpetually placed LeBron as the second best player ever, trailing Michael Jordan, a ranking that evidently irked LeBron after 22 years of outstanding achievement. The GOAT conversation transcends simple basketball discussion. It delves into matters of respect, acknowledgement, and legacy. For LeBron, Smith's dismissal of him as the greatest ever, despite his remarkable consistency and extensive accomplishments, must have felt like a profound disregard for all he has achieved. To him, it's clear that title goes to Michael Jordan. From where would that come? Smith's comprehensive analysis explaining his view of Michael Jordan's superiority over LeBron, although statistic-based, overlooked LeBron's discontent. It wasn't simply about swaying Smith's opinion on the GOAT discussion. It was about the attitude and manner Smith employed in talking about LeBron's journey and his family. The clash between LeBron and Stephen A. Smith symbolized something far more significant than just sports analysis or familial defense. It centered on respect, boundaries, and the shifting dynamics between athletes and the media in a time when players wield unprecedented influence over platforms. LeBron's choice to openly challenge Smith, regardless of the possible repercussions for his media connections, illustrated his deep commitment to safeguarding his family's standing. For someone who has meticulously crafted his public persona for years, this moment of unfiltered emotion showcased the breaking point even the most media-savvy athletes can reach. As this story continues to evolve, it stands as a compelling exploration of contemporary sports media interactions, familial loyalty, and the intricate ties between athletes and their commentators. The king had delivered his words, and the basketball community was attuned. We appreciate your viewership. Keep your edge in sports by accessing exclusive insider gossip and fashionable updates. Tap the card displayed on your screen now.